Hello everyone, and welcome to another video tutorial from STEM the Future. Today we'll be learning how to place a slider on your open source project. Let's get started. In order to use the slider, we'll use a library on github.com. It is posted under the Apache license. So let's get started. First of all, we need to go to github.com/seiYria/bootstrap-slider. This URL will be provided in the video's description. And this is the source code for the slider and all that. And it has all the files that are necessary to run the slider, as well as a description of how to use the slider and everything. But for now, let's demonstrate a very basic functionality. Here is a CSS file that you will need to include into your HTML file, and here is the JavaScript file that you will also need to include into your HTML file. Please download both of these, the CSS and the JavaScript file, and save them in your project folder. Here I'll show you the functionalities in the WebStorm. If you do not know the basic functionalities of WebStorm, please watch the tutorial that was uploaded earlier on getting started on WebStorm. So here I've already included those Bootstrap slider.js and the CSS files. So please go ahead and include those into your folder. And after that, let's create a new file, the HTML file. Name it index.html. And here we go. Here we need to include three things. First of all, we need to include jQuery, and we need to include the JavaScript file, and we need to link the CSS file. So let's do that. So here I've added those three libraries. Now we need to create an input for wherever we want the slider to be. For now, we'll just add it here at the body of the page. And let's have input ID. Have the ID. Let's call it my slider. And it needs to have data dash slider dash ID. And let's make it. Let's also do that, my slider. Okay. It needs to have a type. What kind of it's gonna be number in this case. It needs to have a data slider minimum. Let's make it 2. It needs to have a data slider max. Let's make that 20, and it will have data slider step. That's the interval between each of the dots on the slider, and let's make that 1. I think 2 is better. Okay. And we need to have a data slider value. This is the default value, or the value that will be displayed when the page opens up. So maybe make it 10, and that's 8. After that, we also need to have a script tag, and let's make an age, not age. Let's make my slider. Okay, let's keep things simple here. New slider, and we need to have my slider. Okay, and let's call my slider dot on slide stop function. So whenever the slide will stop, this function will be called. Oops. Function. Okay. This will be the new value after the slider has stopped. Okay, let's do something with it. Let's do document dot get element by ID. Let's do slider dot inner HTML equals value. Okay, that means we also have to have a paragraph with that, maybe id equals slider. Okay, so here we are telling it, you know, whenever the slider stops, perform this function, and here we are instantiating the slider, and this actually needs to be in quotations. So let's test it. There we go, we have our slider. If we move it around, we see the value in our HTML place wherever we placed it, and the lowest value here is 2, the maximum is 20, and of course the mid is 10, and we can try anything else. So this is pretty much the basic functionality for the slider. There is a lot more that you can do with the slider. All these functions are explained here on the sliders main GitHub page. Feel free to use them and make your slider as customized and as pretty as possible. And this is pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and have a wonderful day.